Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of my series about building my industrial empire in EVE Online. So without delay, here are the results from last week. So I managed to have my network climb to 345 million ISK. Out of that, my wallet is at 157 million. The rest is asset. Uh, Aside from that, I got my blueprints that are not uh, in there. So what I have here, I now have the equivalent of 39 million in blueprints. That's not what I could sell them for. That's on the cost of unresearched blueprint. An average material efficiency of 7.1, average time efficiency of 3.8, and I got 41 different blueprint right now. So if you look at the progression, well, I'm climbing steadily. I made more money this week than last week. I got I managed to scale up a bit with my trade profit this week. So I actually made that's 46 million in trade, uh, 432 individual trade item. So 46 million in not in trade, in 46 million, that's production income. So that is just the added value from running the factory. I'm not calculating total sell. I'm calculating what I sold them for less the cost, what it cost me to build them. Uh, it's getting pretty hard to keep track of all of this because when you get like 432 individual line in your balance sheet, that's getting hard. And sometimes you see funny thing in that, like I got a lot of people that are buying me like one iron charge, so one bullet. So I don't know what that guy had wanted to do with that bullet or that girl here. I like to think there's a story behind. I don't know. He caught his wife at cheating with his best friend or something. He just bought one bullet for that person, whatever. But at least it make me laugh whenever I see that because I don't understand why somebody will just buy one round of ammo. But anyway, uh, it is getting hard to keep track of all this. I I saw some video of people doing a detailed spreadsheet of the cost of the mineral they have, and they would take like every time they purchase mineral and every time they added mineral to keep track of their mineral cost and everything. But I don't agree with that philosophy because let's say you buy tritanium, okay, at 3 each, very low. You bought them in 2007 or whatever, and you got your tritanium. But when you're building something today, you have to account the price of tritanium today because you could be doing something else with the tritanium. So I don't think uh, it is economically uh, how would you say that, economically efficient or smart to actually calculate the cost to buy them for because it's sunk cost. You have to calculate the value of what you're consuming at the moment you're building it to see if the building makes sense because you could be selling the titanium, you could be building something else with it, you could be so it's you bought it at 3 isk. If it's at 6 isk today, it's worth 6 isk. So anyway, how did I manage to scale? And that's another story. I made this little PowerPoint to check, basically to try and explain how how I how how I see scaling. Okay, everybody says start with ammo, and it's good. You make good margin with ammo. You can make 100% profit if you're selling if you're building the right ammo. Just you got, like any production, you got to be smart. You got to do the math before you build, to actually make sure you're adding value and not reducing value. Because a lot of production, like a huge amount of production, is not generating any value and is actually losing some. So people would be better not to produce it, but people just make their factory go and go and go and go. Too many producer and not enough destroyers, so the market is overcrowded. Anyway, component, you can get some real margin. Well, the margin all over the place. I mean, railgun, you can lose money. You can make money with neutron blaster, and depend on the day. Someday you will make money with another one. So you got to be always on your toe and watch the market. Same thing with medium ship equipment. Small ship equipment, there's good volume. You can sell a lot in a day. Medium ship equipment, there's a much lower turnover. So I don't know, maybe people in medium ship are smarter and don't get blown up as often. But you get a lower turnover over. You get a lower margin, I would say, but overall you can probably make better profit for your factory, because I mean, I rather make 100% of a million than 200% of 100,000. So it's just the bigger you get, the more money a small margin will make. Ship mods, from what I've saw, I'm mostly looking at drones. Probably I haven't looked at all of them, but you can make a actually pretty good margin, but you get supply problem. It's not as easy in getting the mineral. And then you got the newbie traps. Okay, frigate, destroyer, and I probably cruiser, from at least Galante cruiser in the area I'm at. You really don't make a lot of money. Frigate, you will lose money. I mean, never build a frigate. It's completely useless. The newbie mission, give them. You can buy them for half the production cost. So I mean, there's no point in building frigate. Destroyer, depending on the destroyer, depending on the day, you can maybe make 10% if you are lucky, and if you got a fully researched blueprint, and you got good tax rate. So I mean, if you get super low material cost, maybe, but I wouldn't go near destroyer. Cruiser, you start to have some good one, and then battle cruiser, you can start making money, but the volume is super low. If you can sell one a day, you're a happy camper. And then you got all the bigger stuff, the battleship, and then you get into the capital ship. So anyway, that's where I had trouble, and I say, well, okay, I want to start building like big ship cruisers, but I can buy the blueprint at that point, and that's where it hit me, and I found my solution. My solution is not an agency. It's actually in the finance, in the contract part. You have these people that are selling like fully researched 5-run blueprint copy for under $1 million, okay, for a battle cruiser. So you want to buy a Brutix blueprint, you would need to pay 600 million, and it's not research. And this guy here is actually selling a copy that I can produce 5 for less than $1 million. So before it actually makes sense to buy my own copy of my own blueprint original of a Brutix, I would need to build 3,000 of them. I will never be building 3,000 of them. So, and that's kind of discouraging, because I mean, and if you look, and most capital are like that. So, well, not capital, but medium ship, you can find blueprint for almost all of them, and they're always fully researched. And if you get higher with ship component and everything, it's like you got people selling copies. So it's a good way before you can buy your own copy. But the thing is, at what point does it make sense to buy your own copy? You have to be playing for the next 5 years for it to make sense. So anyway, I did buy a Brutix. Uh, I did buy a Brutix. I did. I actually built one. I sold one, and I made 7 million profit on it. I bought Retriever Blueprint, also 5 run, also fully researched. I built one. I made about 4 million on it. So that that helped me scale. I don't know. I look sustainable for the time being. Uh, so this is how I'm progressing right now. Uh, but at the same time, it's kind of discouraging because, uh, I mean, is there any point in actually building something long term? Because if you're not building your blueprint library, you're just buying a copy. You don't actually need to be putting a lot of time into industry. You just go do something else and buy your copy when you need it. And anyway, I mean, looks right now like the game is the most markets are saturated. I started to look at chip component. I don't see any point as a small scale investor to build them. Even if I could pay the 200 million to get or even more to get uh, like it's almost 2 billion for capital component. So even if I would pay to manage to save 2 billion and buy a blueprint, I would be building them probably at a loss or a very, very small margin. So you're not, I mean, the spot is already taken. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. So anyway, more on that. I'm still mining. You see, I got a mining barge. That's a little bit what I've been doing with my skills. So I'm cranking up the mining barge, trying to get the mining laser upgrade. Just that's the point where I'll stop at rank 4, so I can get the T2 mining upgrade, and I'm a little bit more efficient with the mining barge. I'm not going for mining 5 because, well, it just doesn't interest me as much. And after that, I need to go into start lowering my tax rate. I am getting higher with the Galante. I am getting pretty high with the Federation Navy. So I'm getting to a point where taxes are getting lower. And that's interesting. Uh, Starting next week, I'm gonna have less time to play because I'm gonna, well, Christmas vacation is over, so back to work, and I I get long hour at work, so that's probably probably not gonna be able to play as much, so maybe like 1 or 2 hours a day. So I'm pretty sure that my progression will not be as good. Uh, Most of my money here is coming from stuff I sell. Uh, so I mean, I'll still be able to sell. I just won't be able to mine. And if you see, like, for all that income, well, that include a lot of mining because I mine and I turn it into some goods. I'm not calculating it in my production profit, but I'm selling it, so you don't see it as, it's like at least 3/4 of that is actually mining profit. So that's about it. So I'll continue to run occasional missions to try and rank up. And I don't know where I want to go for next week. I'm honestly I'm kind of discouraged with what I'm seeing for the blueprint because I don't see a way forward that makes sense. I mean, I can keep on buying blueprints and probably buying more mineral and trying to sell the stuff, but since I'm working, I won't be able to do the market PvP, which is like, let's say a Brutix, I probably had to lower the cost of it uh, 20, 25 times before it sold, uh, and not because I was lowering by a lot, but just to make sure that I was the one that will sell it because I was the cheapest one in the region. So, and since I'm gonna be working, I won't be able to play to do the market PvP as much. So I'll see what it will do on my trading run. So the other thing I might want to look at is maybe PI. Uh, I don't know if it's worth it or not. I don't know if I have the skill for it or not. I need to research that. Uh, Still probably too low to go into T2 module. Maybe there's a market there that I could try and get into, but I would need to devote a lot of skill there. So I'm not really sure. I got the battle cruiser skill at level 1. Uh, that's when I was building the Brutix because it was my plan was if it didn't sell, I could still fly it. Maybe I'll build one for me and just to run mission more easily. So well, that's about it. If you have any suggestion, any place you think I should be going for next week, leave a comment or send me a mail in game. So see you next week.